don't even like to have to do these type of videos, y'all, because can I sit here and say that I'm someone that never has had any respect for certain celebrities? I'm a music lover, right? Okay, so there's no way I'm gonna sit here and be a hypocrite. However, times have changed, y'all. This is 2022. And one thing I can promise you, they're not your leaders. They're not leaders that you really need to be truly following if you are someone that's trying to be on the right path. Okay, so let's start. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Okay, so I used to adore them. I was happy. I thought it was beautiful when they got married. They got beautiful children. However, like I said, this is 2022. So this is the problem with the issue with Will going up and slapping Chris Rock. Okay, so we're all human. We're emotional. So when it first happened, I thought, wow, that's a great man. He's defending his wife. Okay, but I'm a spiritual person. So we have to be able to control our energy too. Maybe a lot of women feel like that because men have hurt us. So we feel like, oh, well, finally a man is taking up for a woman. So I had to look inside myself and I had to develop some form of empathy for Chris Rock. But then as I started watching videos, I'm a detective by nature. Okay, so I know when I saw the video, the sound sounded weird. Okay, for example, you hear this? I just slapped my arm, right? Oh, that hurt. I kind of slapped my arm hard. I'm kind of heavy-handed, y'all. So you hear that? That's a slap, right? So I did notice in the video when he slapped him, initially I thought it was a punch, right? I did notice that the slap sounded like it didn't sound like it landed off of skin. It just had a different noise to it. But come to find out, another YouTuber, he said that Chris Rock had rubber on that side of his face. Now, before I knew that, or I watched that video, right, I did know or notice, not know, but notice that after the slap or punch, because initially I thought it was a punch, I did notice that Chris Rock's face was swollen or appeared to be a little bigger on that side. But that's because in my mind, I thought it was because he had been hit. So swelling occurred, because swelling will occur before bruising many times. You know, if you get hit, it gets bigger, you know. So I did pay attention to that. I noticed that his face appeared slightly bigger on the side he got hit at. And I noticed the sound didn't sound like this. Okay, so that's, you know, I just kind of, that was in my subconscious. I just noticed that, but I didn't know why. I just was aware that that happened. However, at the time, because it's easy to pull us in, that's how the devil works. If you used to like celebrities or admire some things about them, you can be drugged back into that. So because of my liking from the past to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, what they were way back then, or what I thought they were, even though in all reality, you don't really know these people. However, you do get to know more about them over time, and it's not always good information. So, okay, this very trusting black YouTuber, he actually showed the evidence. I was even putting comments in that YouTuber's comments like, no, you don't want no women being defended. And I had to apologize to that YouTuber because he actually was providing some evidence, right? And so the evidence he provided matched with what I heard and what I saw. I said, oh, that's why I could have heard that weird sound, because that could have potentially been rubber. Okay, so then another trusting YouTuber, He did a video on um, humiliation rituals. Okay, so I may have to do another video about that, but a humiliation ritual is what it is. A ritual, they say that they're into stuff. People that are willing to humiliate themselves. They have to do it or are asked or told to do it. It's a sacrifice of some kind. So they agree to humiliate themselves for some sort of reward, whether it be a award, whether it be keeping a secret for them. But normally a humiliation ritual also is done to put something out in society, sends a message out. So for example, I'm just throwing this out there. Chris Rock is a rather dark complected man. He has beautiful skin color, but he's chocolate, right? So it kind of put me in the mind of, okay, George Floyd had that chocolate complexion. George Floyd was not helped. He was not rescued. Chris Rock was also not rescued. Okay, notice when he got slapped, everybody went and consoled Will Smith, which is what a lot of people would consider the abuser, because he still started physical violence. Because I found out later, Chris Rock actually did not know that Jada Pinkett had alopecia, or had the hair condition that made her go bald, and she's always been a very beautiful woman to me on the outside. However, like I said, I used to like them. These people, I grew up watching them. I grew up listening to Will Smith music. Okay, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett made us light-skinned people feel like we had it going on, y'all. Come on now. You look up to people, these people look like us. I respected them. Hey, they kind of look like me. This, you know what I'm saying? We're African Americans of lighter skin tone. Okay, but they got dark-skinned people in their family. These ain't no white people, y'all. Okay, so I'm just saying. So, humiliation rituals, just say if that was a humiliation ritual, that can send signals out to black men that it's okay to fight in public. Y'all can attack each other. It's okay to let people beat you up. I mean, that whole scenario can send a lot of toxic messages. It also can send messages. I mean, in some people, I'm not saying Will Smith looked better than Chris Rock, but in the mind of some people, because Will Smith is lighter skinned, they may think he looks better. Okay, Chris Rock ain't no ugly man. Let's get that straight. So I'm just saying what the world may perceive, because we live in America. So that's what we've been taught, that light-skinned people look better. I'm here to tell you now, I don't look as good as a lot of dark-skinned people. Yeah, I'm lighter complected, but that does not mean I look better than somebody that's darker. They may actually be prettier. Okay, so I noticed, like, okay, I'm just giving you some examples here. So just say it is a humiliation ritual. So if it was a humiliation ritual, that means that the whole thing was fake, y'all. So see, this is 2022. These are not your leaders anymore. Okay? And remember, the entire time, everything they was doing, if you really look back on what your liking was to these people, it was all fake in the first place. They're actors. They are actors, okay? So, I noticed in the photos, after the Oscars event, they took the family photos or whatever. So, I didn't like, not to downgrade nobody's parenting, but I didn't like how Jada Pinkett allows her daughter to show her breasts like that. I don't. I think that's not good. So see, this goes, and I'm saying this to say this. they're not my leaders. They're not my role models. That's not something that I want to be following. And I'm not going to be following what they do and what they show us just because they have money. So that's what the Lord wants us to see, is just because somebody has money doesn't mean they're your role models and leaders. That's just not how it is no more. A lot has happened over the years since Jada Pinkett and Will Smith initially got married. For one, they came out themselves and said they have an open relationship. Two, Jada Pinkett humiliated her husband in public with that entanglement thing when she was cheating with that younger guy. And I'm not saying Will Smith didn't cheat on her too, but there's been a lot of stuff that's happened over the last, I would say, I think they met when they were in their 20s. So it's been almost 30 years. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened in those 30 years. So this is the thing you got to always remember. It's just like when you're with a narcissist and you're love bomb, right? In those golden years where things are good, or those golden months, a lot of people don't get out of those situations because they won't realize that, hey, this guy was only good to me, or this woman was only good for the first year. But for the last 15 years, they've been beating me up and screaming and hollering at me. See, what I'm saying here is you got to readjust yourself and you got to catch your own addiction. One YouTuber, he said, the one that exposed some other things. I'll get into that in a minute. But there was two black men, African-American men, that exposed this. And hey, I mean, evidence is evidence. I heard the slap didn't sound like that. It gave a different noise, okay? So I didn't hear that. So that was already in my subconscious. I just paid attention to a lot of things, especially at some point after the incident happened. It's like, wow, nobody consoled Chris Rock. Nobody asked him, was he okay? No police were involved. And I'm not saying I would want Will Smith to go to jail. I mean, why should he go to jail if it's all fake and it's a ritual anyway? So humiliation rituals are real. These are things that sometimes people are even pulled in and they're not even knowing they're a part of it. Humiliation is different from embarrassment because embarrassment doesn't send the same psychological signals as humiliation does. Okay, so actually humiliation is actually a part of psychology. So if you Google the psychology of humiliation, you will find all kind of information. So humiliation, prisoners of war have been humiliated. Women have been humiliated. Men were humiliated, raped and beat in slavery, along with their women. It's been a lot of forms. The Germans and Jews were humiliated in the Holocaust. So there's all sorts of humiliation, but humiliation is much different than embarrassment because, for one, embarrassment can heal over a shorter period, and embarrassment may not be such a horror, but humiliation can be almost like a horror. And humiliation, it leaves a lasting energy that can go on a very long time. I mean, years and years to come. And a humiliation ritual, it has a message that's supposed to be sent out into people's lives and things. And so, of course, I was easily pulled in because I used to be a celebrity admirer. So at first I'm like, yeah, Don't be talking about Jada. You know, I went on the defense like that's one of my sisters. However, what you always got to do is do your research. Okay? You always got to do your research, and you got to see what else you find. And then you got to take all the information just like a detective would and evaluate it. And part of evaluating the information, you can't go against your instinct. So the biggest problem of this is a good leader is not fake. You don't even have to wonder if it's fake or real. Okay? So, for example, this is my small ministry channel, right? There's videos on there where I show myself. It's me. I'm Irene Marie. This is not a made-up name. At some point, you should be able to analyze my videos and understand there is some genuine interest and behaviors in me. And the reason you know that is because you can see a pattern. You can listen to my words, see if I contradict myself. Okay? I'm not a robot. Okay? So we gotta stop thinking that these are our leaders. And the reason humiliation rituals can work is because people in the world actually look up to these people and try to imitate these people's behavior. Okay, so for example, okay, Chris Rock displayed, okay, you don't hit back. Don't fight back, right? There could be some guy, black or white, that tries to imitate Chris Rock, and somebody comes up and punches or slaps him, but because that guy didn't defend himself quick enough, the guy that punched or slapped him now pulls out a weapon and shoots him. Because some guy wants to be like Chris Rock and just be humble and not say anything, and gets him and potentially his whole family killed because he just stands there. You just can't trust the people no more. This is not 20, 30 years ago when we so-called loved or adored and admired these people. Things have changed. So you gotta adjust to the change. Just the fact that you even have to wonder if it's real or fake is a problem. So if you have a legitimate leader, you never have to wonder if it's real or fake. Legitimate leaders only bring genuine, legitimate messages, and their energy is never artificial. Evidence that they leave behind will never be artificial. So keep that in mind. You gotta get beyond the past. These people are different. These people are, you gotta look at everything for what it is. And I'm gonna say this too. So another YouTuber, and this really, I was just about done when I started looking at the pattern. So supposedly Will Smith did this St. Patrick's Day video with the skirt on, the little green skirt, had his boots on, very feminine energy, okay? And I'm sorry to have to say this. I mean, and this is not to taint this man's character, right? But I just did a video on being a great detective. So, and I also just did a video on paganism. Remember, I'm learning too. And you got to remember, these holidays come from the European occult demonic sources. St. Patrick's Day is one of them. Ain't nothing good about St. Patrick's Day. I never celebrated that day and I won't regret it. However, Will Smith is in this little clip and he's switching and dancing like a woman with this skirt on, this short St. Patrick's Day skirt. And I don't care what they call that thing they be wearing in the parades. Them are skirts, y'all. Robes are long. I'm not talking about the long drapings that like Muslims would wear that come to their ankles and almost to their ankles. I'm talking about Will Smith had on a skirt that was thigh length, y'all, and he was switching. He was going back and forth. He was sitting in a hotel in a depression, talking about he's not sure if that was the right thing to do the St. Patrick's Day dance, man. Will Smith is getting his soul removed from him. On a spiritual level, I feel very sorry for him. I do. I feel very sorry for him. I see his empathy is definitely being corroded. And his empathy and who Will Smith was capable of being and who he is in heart, I think, began as genuine. But this line of work and the stuff that they had these black men doing, you gotta look at the pattern, y'all. The only one, Dave Chappelle tried to tell you, they ain't been able to get Denzel in a dress. But notice, all the other black men that get involved in what they would call Hollyweird, instead of Hollywood, the nickname Hollyweird, and I'm using the nickname that people call it so you can get an understanding of why they even call it that. It seems as if to really get a status for a black man in Hollywood, you gotta wear a dress. But what is that to do? What is the purpose of that? The purpose of that is to make black men, make most of them gay or bisexual. So if most black men are gay or bisexual, what does that do? That stops the reproduction of our race. Black children stop coming here. Not as many of them will be born. So you got to look at the reasoning. And since the beginning of time, since the moment they let black people in Hollywood, not all of it was to help us, y'all. It was used as a destruction. Look at what the rappers do. They display the pants sagging. Look at all the brothers and sisters that's gonna be going into the penitentiary at a very fast and high rate. So you gotta control that spirit and that sin of respecting these entertainers. And if you used to respect the entertainers, you can easily be pulled back into it. But however, the way you fight that spirit is through studying and research. See, most people just gonna stay on that one thing. Okay, if I just would have watched what I saw Will Smith do, that's right, he defended my Jada, y'all. If I just would have watched that and didn't study, I would be bamboozled. So these are not your leaders. Things have changed. Will Smith boogie woogie and switching them hips. He threw that leg up, honey, like he a woman. And you know, if you listen to my video, Being a Great Detective, you already know what I'm gonna say. I don't need to sit here and think or wonder if he done been with a man already. I don't need to taint his character and even say he's probably already been with a man. He's doing that himself. When he boogies woogies with all that green St. Patrick stuff on with that short St. Patrick skirt, I don't care what they call it, it's a skirt. Acting like he a woman, acting like he a drag queen, getting ready to prostitute. I ain't even got to sit here and say he's bisexual or gay. Will Smith has done that for me. I don't need to assassinate his character when he's assassinating his own character. And I'm not happy to even have to say this about him. Because like I said, that was someone back in the day that I was genuinely listening to. I was tuned in to Will Smith. But the Lord wants us to get the information and tune out. And what you got to do, you can find some good information on YouTube from me and others. But you also can't make someone your leader because they're well known or they're popular. Yeah, he may be way more popular than me. That's true. But what I'm telling you on this video may be the information that's the righteous thing to follow. Just because it's more popular does not mean that it's biblical or it's righteous or it's godly or it's anything that's going to get your soul into a great place in the afterlife. These people ain't your leaders, man. These people are toxic. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, they do not represent what the black community needs to fix their problems. Chris Rock is also not representing what the black community needs right now to fix our problems. They're just being used by European Americans to destroy us further. Because anything that's in the black community that's showing an example of violence won't ever get us nowhere. They showed him being violent against another black man. They're not showing him being violent against the police. Who's killing us? Police officers. Who's more likely going to kill a black man? A police officer. They're not showing an example of you fighting them back. The people that's really, other black men are harming us. I mean, you got gang members killing each other all the time. But see, gang members are TV watchers. Remember, prior gang members have been having that stuff put in their subconscious since they was babies. When they mamas was at work, when they mamas was out doing crack, gang members were on that TV watching shoot 'em up movies. So all of that came from Hollywood, y'all. So none of that stuff that they're displaying, and just the fact of what I'm telling you, it could be real or it could not be real. However, even if it was real, the way Chris Rock was treated was not appropriate. So what does that show America? Oh, if a dark-skinned guy... So basically, the signal that's being sent, y'all, is when somebody's dark-skinned, don't help them. Don't rescue them. Watch them get kneed to death on the ground. Watch them get beat up on a stage. It could either be the police assaulting them. If it's a dark-skinned person on the stage getting beat up, don't call the police. Just let them get slapped. I mean, and then if it is fake, look at how sick. Because remember, if it's fake, that means Chris Rock and Will Smith orchestrated that. Okay? And used Jada Pinkett as the blunt of the joke. Used her illness to orchestrate that. And so remember, if it's fake, that's evil. Because what does the devil like to do? The devil likes to deceive us. The devil likes to trick us into believing that things that are really fake are real. So deceit is evil. And people that go along and trick people and deceive people, that's an evil act. So that means if it is fake, that means that Chris Rock and Will Smith are doing evil deeds. And they do not represent where I'm going in my life. So what? They got more popularity. And see, people gonna see how Willow Smith, she's a cute little girl. She's a cutie pie, right? But that girl, she needs to be covered. Okay? And I think Will Smith knows that. I think Will Smith is, in my opinion, he's been in a state of depression. And I'm going to tell you why. Will Smith, I don't feel like he's happy with the way he's carrying on with his family. I think that Will Smith is a legitimate leader of his family, right? However, he does not have the full control that a man needs to have over Jada Pinkett because of her underlying issues that go way, way back. I mean, you got YouTubers that are very valid with their information, letting you know Jada Pinkett is a narcissist, y'all. So right there, that's a problem. So just say if she is a narcissist, Will Smith is having a lot of trouble controlling that element in her. So what that does is that emasculates him. Will Smith, I see him as the type of man, if he had the control, he be telling Willow Smith, you can't wear that out here. But see, he's in a line of work where they're suggesting and recommending that this how they carry themselves. And see, that's the problem with being an actor. Even some of the childhood stars have even told how they've tuned out, psychologically tuned out. They became 2 and 3 different people sometimes. Sometimes they got so confused about who they really are. Acting is fun, y'all. I was in drama. That was my major, drama and dance, when I was in middle school, right? And I went over that in my video, Irene's small YouTuber experience. And so this is fun to me. However, this is healthy acting. And see, right now, I'm not acting. See, the beauty, what's beautiful? Let me tell you what's beautiful. It's when you don't have to act. When you can be your character. Okay, so I'm a YouTuber, so I'm creating a character. But guess what? My character can actually be who I am. Isn't that beautiful? And see, that's something that gets ripped from actors. When I was in drama and dance, I was very good at what I did. However, the Lord stopped that. Because the Lord wants me doing this. Hey, I got something I want you to do. It's a ministry channel. It's motivational speaking. It's writing your poems. And see, I don't have to go into a depression. I don't have to be made to dress up like a man. I don't have to do humiliation rituals. Even if it's not a ritual. Even if it wasn't a ritual, it's still humiliation. Just for Chris Rock being slapped. Just for Jada Pinkett, for her to be exposed of her illness. I thought she just had her hair short. I didn't know she had alopecia. And I have studied on that, and I do know that for Black women that get alopecia, it is also, for some of them, a stress-related disorder. So, the more you're stressed out, the more highly likely you are to develop that, because it also can be hereditary. Okay, so, and we all know that Jada Pinkett has been under a lot of stress since she's been a child. She was stressed out when Tupac died. Okay, she's been under, and that's something that she'll never get over. The death of Tupac will always be in her energy. Sometimes when I see her sitting there, she reminds me of Tupac. I think of him because that was her friend. She loved Tupac. And so people do things when they've lost a piece of their soul too. Yeah, you can get married. I was married at one time in my life too, but nobody can ever replace my friends. Because the thing is, friends are forever. So Tupac will be forever in her heart. So elements like that, I do have a heart and soul for. I like Tupac's genuine spirit. That man was genuine. See, he wasn't acting. See, he got to kind of do what I'm doing. He got to be his real self. Okay. And Tupac Shakur has some powerful quotes. So that's all I want to say is basically that's my stand. You're going to see a lot of videos, but I just wanted to share with you what I heard, what I witnessed when I watched it, and also the follow-up information that proves and has some evidence that it could have been staged or fake. And I had to come out here to tell you, and this is not to assassinate Will Smith's character, but I mean, when you stand up there in a St. Patrick skirt, switching your booty and hips and dancing like you a woman, that's what they want to do in Hollywood. That's what they want to do to black men. And see, what I do, I'm raising black males, right? So I share with them the truth. You know, I have one son that's very talented. He's an artist. I mean, some of the stuff he draws, his drawings are becoming more and more God-like. I mean, like, this is a gift. My son can draw. He started out drawing dragons. Now he can draw people. He can draw the earth, trees, what's in a house, what's outside the house. The way he sketches and puts the color in his stuff, it's so spiritual to me. It brings tears to my eyes, right? And who knows where that talent will go? Because I do promote their talents, but I let him know right now, if you ended up anywhere near Hollywood, you better not put on no dress. Because you think Will Smith ghetto. That could be real. Just say it is real and he walked up there and slapped him. That's what I'm going to do too. If you standing up in Hollywood on a stage and you got on one of them Medea dresses showing your artwork, I'm going to come up out of that seat on you. I'm going to be Will Smith too. Because I have to set a standard. And who gives the standard is me. I'm their leader. And see, that's what you got to teach your children. Your nieces, nephews, your little cousins, you got to teach them, I'm the leader, not them. You don't even know these people. You got to always reiterate that to them. Growing up, I met several famous people. So I met some famous people. I met Bill Cosby, Luther Vandross, Gregory Hines, Neil Carter. And when I say met them, I spent some time with them, sat down and ate with them, talked to them. We got to know each other. Okay? So I have met famous people in my childhood. However, there's a lot of famous people I've never met that were so-called back in the day my idols. One of them was Prince. Okay? So you just gotta look at it for what it is and never take your spiritual eye off. That's what you gotta do. Don't take your spiritual eye off, because all that stuff is inappropriate. Don't look at Willow Smith with that outfit that she had on. You gotta teach your girls to cover their breasts. That's not cool to be walking around like that. You know, I'm all about feminine energy. That's fine that Jada Pinkett wants to not be ashamed of her alopecia. However, you know, we talk about wigs and stuff. That may be more appropriate. It's a lot of other things she could do. She could wear a hijab. She could wear a scarf. She could wear a wig. You gotta ask yourself, is she wearing her bald head to promote feminine energy? Because even a woman that wears very short hair, when it's all bald, is their feminine energy? Well, that's her natural self. I can respect that she's not putting on artificial stuff. I do. However, what I'm saying is this. What is her motive for doing it that way? Is she trying to say, okay, be yourself no matter what your health condition is? Or is she trying to say, let me show you how to be a man? Because see, you got to remember, just like Will Smith is switching that booty and dancing with that paganistic St. Patrick's demonic European ancestry crap on, humiliating himself. That's why he's standing up there in tears. You had to see him on the video in the hotel that the brother showed. Will Smith is deeply depressed. That man ain't happy. Will Smith got himself into something that it looks like it's hard for him to pull himself out of. And that's part of the demonic demon that comes along with riches. That's why the Bible said it will be harder for the rich man to get into the gates of heaven. It is going to be harder because once they start, when you do certain things, you got to be careful what you do. This is something my mom taught me also. I remember my mom said, she would say something like crossing over to the other side. You know, like once you cross over, it's hard to come back. So my mom used to say, don't cross over. And it's many things that people cross over into: lesbianism, homosexuality, having threesomes. See, once you do certain things, it's just done. And it's not that you can't recover from it, but you have crossed. Once you murder a man, once you take a life, most murderers say they'll never be the same. Especially if they're a murderer that has some level of empathy. Not all murderers are actually sociopaths and psychopaths. So if this murderer is able to feel in any aspect, and he can be somewhat transparent to not just himself, but the world, you'll never be the same once you kill. That's why a lot of serial killers say that they kept doing it, because when they did their first murder, they became addicted to killing. So they were never the same. Now I've killed. Now I got to kill again. I got to keep this going. So that's the thing. So Will Smith, you know, he crossed over. He's walking over to the other side. And see, when you do that, and you do that too often and over a period of time, your soul is being depleted from you. And your soul is who you really are, who you really was at first. That nice, kind man. So Will Smith, who was he at first? Because most likely, I'm going to tell you this. I bet you this. I bet you Will Smith, say if he's experienced any homosexual activity, I bet you he wasn't doing that when he first was pulled into acting. Because when he first was pulled into acting, I was watching him and I don't see any red flags. But when he got pulled in, that homosexual, he probably was pulled into that homosexuality, if he was, years later, say in several years. So say he maybe it started happening when he married Jada, since they have what they call an open relationship, which we would refer to as swingers. Okay, so the demonic homosexuality activity could have occurred when he married Jada. That could have been the way that Satan pulled him in. And so what that did and could have done was made him leave who he is. That's why I never did threesomes. Oh, I've been asked several times. You seem like you kind of freaky. Would you like to? No, I would not like to. Thank you very much. And I don't regret that. Hey, I've watched a threesome on pornography. I've slipped into that just to see what they do. And what that showed me was I'm glad I didn't do it. Because see, that's how they get you into pornography. See, it starts out small, then it gets bigger. So if one of my boyfriends can get me to do a threesome, then a pimp can get me to do porn now. See, it all escalates. And so you don't want to have to experience everything. So it's some things that you need to refuse and not experience it. That's my testimony that I never had a threesome. Okay? But see, people know what you ain't never had. That's why you got to be careful with abusers. You got to be careful with spiteful people. Because see, a lot of people know what you ain't did. So a man can break up with you and he can trick you and say, yeah, come over to my house. And he know you ain't had no threesome. So the way he can try to destroy your spirit is to have you gang raped. He can bring you to his house, and next thing you know, he get up off you, and they just each come in one at a time, 10 of them, gang rape you. That's happened to women. So that's why you got to be very careful, and you got to protect what you know you said no to. Because when you say no to these certain type of things, there's some wicked, evil people out here. Now, not all men want to do that to you. But what I'm saying, you got to be careful with what you know you ain't gotten into. Because other people know you ain't did it neither. Many women that are gang raped, they've never had a threesome. They've never had anal sex. But this is the time that they get manipulated and used. So you have to be very careful and just make sure that you protect yourself on all levels. And I think that's some of what has happened probably to Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. You know, this open relationship thing, where did they get that idea from? Did they originally get that from their Hollywood friends that got them into that? So you got to look at how young Will Smith and Jada Pinkett were when they first started their careers. They were very, very young. And so when you're very, very young, you're easily manipulated. I'm going to keep my heart good for them. But my main thing here is I'm not telling nobody's secret. Hey, Will Smith, when you get up there and you willing to flaunt your stuff and dance like a woman with that demonic St. Patrick's Day stuff, actually, Will Smith needs to be on my videos. He needs to learn what paganism is. But see, people like that, when they get so high up, they think they too good to listen to my ministry channel because they think that what they doing is right. And what convinces them that what they're doing is right is because they're making more money than me. Okay? So never forget about the afterlife. You want to be sitting in heaven, not hell. Because see, at the end of the day, you won't really die. Your body will die, but not your spirit. So your spirit is going to continue to live on. And it's going to be in purgatory, hell, or heaven. That won't die. So you got to choose how that outcome is going to be by how you live today. Okay, and you got to teach your sons, you know, I make my sons aware. And you got to totally, they're not our leaders no more. This is 2022. We know what a narcissist is now. We know what sociopaths are. We know what empaths are that have been manipulated. And the videos I watched, nothing about what I watched, from Jada Pinkett being emotionally hurt to that whole thing being staged or real, whatever it is, to the photos I seen them taking, to Willow Smith not having her breast covered. She's too cute to be having her breast out like that. I don't like that. That's too cute of a little girl. I don't want nothing to happen to her. To the problems that they've had with their son. Nothing about it looked happy to me. So see, you got to start reading between the lines. Look at how they be looking when they be taking them photos. They don't look happy. And I'm glad they ain't got Denzel Washington in a dress. I mean, God, at least somebody. And see, Denzel Washington has gotten great roles. That's probably one of the only brothers they respect. See, that's the thing. Black men and women got to stop. Actually, right now I'm talking to the black men. They got to stop putting on these dresses. Maybe you don't really need to do that to get the roles. Maybe if you tell these white people that you ain't dressing like no woman, maybe they'll still give you a great role because it's happened to Denzel. He ain't booty popping with short skirts on. You ain't seen Denzel do none of that crazy stuff. So you cannot tell me you can't work that acting job and not humiliate yourself and be doing humiliation rituals. Even if it's not what you call a ritual, I'ma call it a ritual. Because that's what you're doing. You're projecting that toxic behavior onto the world. So that's just like doing a ritual. Look at the influence you're putting out in the world that's so ungodly and that leads people to just unhappiness, y'all. So tune in for more. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment, leave a comment. And thank you so much for being tuned in. And tune in for more. Thank you.